Is your EEO case a DEI claim? Should you worry that if you filed an EEO claim that it's somehow going to be lumped into a DEI claim? Will I be fired if I file an EEO claim? These are some of the questions I'm going to answer right now and lay it to rest. I will lay these questions to rest right now as part of a multi-part video series regarding the executive orders and the impact it has on your employment case. The first question is my EEO case considered a DEI case, diversity, equity, and inclusion case? An executive order issued in January of 2025 that talked about eliminating DEI policies from the federal government. Now, I want you to remember that executive orders are not the same as the law. In fact, executive orders cannot override the law. Executive orders cannot override judicial opinions. That's what the separation of powers is about. There is the judicial branch, there is the executive branch, and there is the legislative branch. The legislative branch makes the laws. The judicial branch interprets the laws, such as the Supreme Court. And the district courts can decide if an executive order is even valid to begin with. It can be challenged. Within the executive branch, however, the president is basically like the boss of all of the executive agencies. He can issue executive orders that fill in the gaps in the law. Regarding the DEI elimination, this is not something that is an EEO case. In fact, it does not even try to override the law. In fact, if you look at the DEI order, it actually says that it's to eliminate racist policies. The DEI policies, according to this order, they mandated programs that related to hiring decisions that were based on race and diversity, which really runs contrary to the Title VII, where you're not allowed to base these decisions based on race. It tries to implement merit promotion principles. In fact, if you look at the law, there is a law that says merit system principles. If you look at that law, that's codified by statute. It actually talks about hiring based on merit. Within the civil service system, that's how it's done. And there is another law called prohibited personnel practices. That is also codified in the law. And it says you cannot hire based on considerations of nepotism or discrimination based on race or disability or whistleblower activity. An EEO case is not a DEI case, far from it. The next question is, can I be fired or should I be worried about filing an EEO claim? Well, first, no. The short answer is no. Title VII prohibits anyone from deterring you from filing an EEO claim. This means that nobody can come up to you. For example, your boss cannot come up to you and say, hey, if you file an EEO claim, I'm going to use Doge, or I'm going to use these executive orders and get you terminated. That would be per se reprisal. That would be something that would be per se retaliation. You cannot deter somebody. In other words, you cannot try to prevent somebody from filing an EEO claim. You cannot use threats, and especially baseless threats based on the elimination of DEI policies. Has nothing to do with EEO claims. If you have a meritorious EEO claim, you should make EEO contact and perhaps you should file your EEO claim. This may actually give you extra protection should you be fired as a probationary employee or for some other reason that might be baseless. It may give you a little bit of extra protection for retaliation purposes. In short, there is nothing in the executive orders that says you cannot file an EEO claim. any kind of executive order would be unlawful. That's probably why we do not have any executive orders that say you cannot file an EEO claim, because filing an EEO claim is a lawful right. In my next videos, I will talk about other questions that come up with executive orders. Other questions that come up like, how is my telework accommodation affected by the return to work executive order? How is my remote work situation affected? Other question is like, what impact does this have on my whistleblower case? What about settlements? How are settlements affected with the executive orders? What about religion? How is that affected by the executive order about eliminating anti Christian bias? These and many other questions are going to be answered in a series of videos, and I will put all of these into an article. This is timely guidance, but this is guidance that you can use no matter who is in office. Administrations change, executive orders change, but they cannot change the law. However, there are practical considerations that are at play, and I will talk about those in upcoming videos.